All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Lawal. Welcome, Oluwatayo. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Toden Jakpa. It's so nice to have you all on the call. Right. So we're going to start immediately because we have a long stretch and our tutor is, the call available is available already, right? So good evening, everyone. And before we start the class, I want to appreciate us for being available for today's webinar session. It promises to be an amazing and an insightful one, where we'll learn around smart pricing and bigger margins, how we can upscale our businesses and ensure that we're getting the proper returns that we ought to get, right? So I just want to tell us a little about what we do here at Technetics, after which I would give the floor to the tutor. So I'll be sharing my screen now. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Thank you. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. 1 minute, and then yeah. Thank you. Okay. All right. So about Technetics, we're empowering Africa's workforce for a digital future, and this is an overview of the African continent and where we come in and what we've come to do, right? We've seen that there is a job gap, there's skills gap, and that's what that's why we are here at Technetics, to bridge that gap and to ensure that there's economic growth, innovations are no longer limited, and people can actually upskill to the position where the world is going to. Now, Technetics at a glance, one edtech institution driving Africa's growth by equipping its workforce with critical digital skills, right? And one of which is why we are here, aligning with the SDG goals for quality education and decent work and economic growth. We are accredited by the CPD certification service in the UK, and we adopt a blended model of cohort-based learning programs, a practice-driven virtual simulation lab, and a live project implementation approach. I'll be talking more about this as we move on in the presentation. Now, our vision is to be the leading force in Africa's digital transformation, equipping professionals with essential skills that foster economic growth, resilience, and sustainable development across Nigeria and the continent. And our mission is to drive Africa's growth by providing accessible, accredited digital education in data, product management, and no-code development. Today, we're here to learn about a concept in market basket analysis, right? And so we also offer things around products, no code, AI, data governance, and you can just name it, right? So we aim to reskill over 10,000 professionals by 2025, fostering economic resilience and innovation. You see that we have a very great mission, and we're on that way to accomplishing it. And that's why we're doing all of these things that we do, our webinars and whatnot, and our cohort-based trainings. Now, we've talked about the problem statement, and these are our solutions, right? So, introduction of cohort-based learning model, right? So we have cohorts where you can come in over a period of time to learn things, around product data or AI, right? You just come and it drives peer engagement and collaboration and deeper understanding. You are with the like mind of people that are also learning, and so there can be collaboration. You can learn more and you can just engage, right? And we also have our practice-driven experience in our virtual lab. So we're not just all about theory, right? We're not just all about theory. We also have our virtual lab where when you're done learning, you can actually go there to practice with real life and real-time data, right? And another of our solution is strategic internship placement on live client projects via the project implementation division of Technetics, right? So we'll also have another part where it's the project implementation. So there's a strategic internship placement where our students that have learned can come on board to work on problems that we're handling, that we're trying to solve at Technetics, and then they can also gain real life experience with that. And we also have our last solution is the AI enabled elements, where you can get real time feedback on your assignments, quizzes. You don't need to wait like a whole week till you see your tutor again. You can actually get answers and feedback immediately. Now, these are our notable partnerships. If you've been following us on our social media platform, you see that we're graduating our recent cohort of engineers. That's next month. And so these are our notable partnerships, right? Brands that trust us: Alex, Itiva, Sterling Bank, and all of these companies have trusted us over the years. And these are notable clients also. This is the best team. Oluwatayo Winkole is the founder and lead trainer, and Brian Moglo, the program manager. Then we have Timothy, the graphic designer, and Triumph, the marketing associate. And all of us, ensure that things run smoothly here at Technetics. And this is what we are here for today, right? Smart pricing, bigger margins, using data to optimize discounts, bundles, and upsells. And our tutor is here. Our tutor is the amazing David Michael, and he's on the call already. And about David is a data analyst with over 5 years of experience using data to drive business growth in the e-commerce and recruitment sectors. He has worked across pricing, marketing insights, and business intelligence functions with expertise in the use of Excel, Power BI, and SQL. David specializes in developing pricing strategies that align revenue goals with market demands, and has led market research initiatives that uncover opportunities and support strategic decision making. I promise you that you are in for a great ride and you're in good hands this evening. Please join me as we welcome David Michael as he takes us in the session this evening. Welcome, David. It's a pleasure to have you on the call, and thank you for doing this with Technetics. Good evening, David. Please confirm you can hear me once more.
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening, Lori. Good evening, everyone. And thanks for the introduction. Do I need to put on my camera briefly, or my picture is already?
Anyone that works for you, please. Anyone that works for you, please.
Okay, I'll just maybe put it off so everyone can. Of course, the picture is already there. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, this is David Michael she spoke about. So I'll be sharing my screen right away. Okay, please confirm you can see my screen. I guess you should.
Yes, I can see.
My training slide.
I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome to this training, and I hope to be worth your time. The topic on our hands is smart pricing, bigger margins. Like you see in the slide, I've made the margin fonts bigger because that's, at the end of the day, that's what a pricing analyst does, helping businesses scale their margins. So there are different functions when it comes to driving revenue growth or driving profitability for a company. But I dare say that one of the most important, or the first point, or the most directly affecting factor in a product or organizational revenue is pricing. And of course, that's backed up by research. So I'll just dive right in. So this evening, we'll be looking at the topic of pricing and how we can use it to how we can use data, how to apply data to pricing in growing, in making sure we give the best discount, bundles, or upsells. I'll be defining each of these terms as we progress, and I hope you come along with me. Please, at any point you can't hear me, please cough. Let me know, just unmute and speak. And if you think you want to ask a question, please feel free to do that along the line. I'll try. The slides were boring, but I'll try to make it as interesting as I can. And I hope you follow along. So why are we discussing pricing? Why smart pricing? Of course, like I mentioned, the factor that affects profitability the most, or has the most direct impact on profitability, is pricing. So in marketing, there's what's called the 4 P's of marketing mix. That's place, product, promotion, and price. And of these 4, the one that has the most direct impact on profitability is pricing. Why? Because you don't need any extra cost to increase your price. You can just, of course, you might increase prices because costs have increased, but to increase the price itself, there's no added cost. You can decide to sell your product for 2,000 today, and tomorrow is 2,500. There is no added cost to that 500. It's just you updating your price. If you are running an online shopping mall or on your store, just take off the price list and put on a new one. So it has a very direct impact. And most businesses rely on discounts. Of course, we know that a lot of, for instance, I had the experience. I worked in an e-commerce platform that almost used discount to kill themselves, so to say, at the point where the company discovered that discounts were really hurting them was 2 years in, and a lot of things had gone bad. By the time they wanted to revert, it was a difficult ride for them. So it's best to know that as a pricing analyst, you're not just using discount. Of course, discount drive sales, but sometimes it could lead to margin erosion. You could be losing more than you should when you have too much discount on the table. We'll be looking at discounts in depth this evening, and how you as a pricing analyst can use discounts to your advantage. And also with the right data. Why are we discussing smart pricing? With the right data, your pricing can be more strategic. You know, okay, you're giving this price to these customers and there's data to back it up. And then smart pricing, of course, can be used to make informed decisions that maximize profit while delivering customer value. It's important to state at this point that one of the 2 things that must be at the back of your mind while you're pricing your product as a pricing analyst is customer value, and profitability and customer value. Your customers, if your customers are not willing to pay that amount for it, then your pricing is not good enough. Your customers can simply buy elsewhere. So and sometimes your customers might be willing to even pay more. Yes, we have those instances. So I'll give an illustration. So recently on Twitter, I don't know how many of us are very active on Twitter, but there was this case of someone that she posted slippers, palm slippers, handmade. They were very beautiful, but then she said it was about 70,000, and there was the one for 140, 150,000. And of course, you trust Twitter now, there were backlashes. Why are you selling slippers for 70,000? Blah blah blah. And then someone else came that same week and sold some pieces of chessboard for 1 million naira each. And I tell you, of course, I'm not telling you because you're probably aware, 100 pieces were sold out in about 3 days, Lagos and New York. What happened there was customer value. Of course, a chessboard is not necessarily worth 1 million, but then the person they were buying from, people had placed value on that person. So if he was coming to sell for 10 million, I promise you would have sold. It might have taken maybe some extra days, but it would have sold. So in pricing your product, you must put in consideration customer value. How much are your customers willing to pay? And with smart pricing, we can always bridge that gap. So what we'll be covering this evening, we'll be looking at basic terms in pricing, some fundamentals of pricing. Then we'll be looking at discounts, bundles, and upselling as subtopics on their own. Then lastly, we'll be looking at the role of data in pricing. Also, there is an hands-on exercise at the end of this training, and the exercise assumes we probably can use basic Excel. It's going to be very simple and straightforward, nothing complex, but it's just to demonstrate how a pricing analyst should work to better use all of these tools to optimize profit. Can I go on, please? Everyone can hear me, I assume. Or is it boring already?
Yes, please, I can hear you, David.
Okay, thank you very much. So pricing fundamentals. So we're looking at three topics here: the role of pricing in business strategy, how pricing links to profitability, and then the pricing levers, which are discount, upselling, and bundles. So what role does pricing play in profitability? I already said that what one thing that has the most direct impact on your profitability as a business is your pricing strategy. It has a very direct impact because you don't spend any extra money to increase these prices. And it's worthy to note here that if you put out a well thought out pricing strategy, not only can it maximize your profit, it can also position you in the market. For instance, some brands are known for good prices. You have, I won't want to make adverts, but you have two brands of milk, and then you have one known as the poor man's milk, and then some as the big man's milk. Okay, let me mention, maybe I should mention names at this point. Cowbell, when they came out, they started with powdered milk. It was very cheap, affordable, while Peak Milk was making maybe liquid at the time. It looked like Peak Milk was for the rich, and Cowbell was for the poor. But years later, Peak Milk was selling powder as well. So what happened was Cowbell had market positioning. People know that, okay, if I don't have money and I want to take milk, it's Cowbell. A lot of people know the word Cowbell to be synonymous to milk, just like you have Indomie and noodles and all of that. So market positioning, a good pricing strategy can put you in a very good market position, and it can also help you beat competitors. It can give you competitive advantage and most importantly, profitability. Now, how does pricing link to profitability? There's a while preparing for this presentation, I came across a research by Insivia, a Harvard Business Review, and it stated that a 1% increase in pricing can yield as much as 11% increase in profit. Of course, a lot of factors involved, but directly can lead to 11% increase. And we have a very popular example of this, Netflix. Streaming platforms do this all the time. If you've been following the news, MTN recently, or MTN declared their Q1 profit, and they were in billions of profit. They were in billions of profit, and we all know one of those things that could have contributed to that is their increase in tariff. They did an increase in tariff. They were even willing to go over 100% or so, but then the government did not, the NCC did not allow. But with the little amount they could increase, their profit jumped. So pricing and profit are interlinked. Your pricing change, your profit can jump. I mean, as much as 11%. So why so? This is because price changes flow directly to the bottom line. I already mentioned that you don't need any extra cost. It just goes from your desk to the market and it's boom. And no high costs, no effective. It's effective in high fixed cost industries. I already mentioned that the telecoms, the streaming platforms, and all of that see this happen a lot. So depending on the industry, a small increase in price can lead to a very huge jump in revenue. That's why we have to understand how to use pricing effectively. And then the three, of course, there are more. There can be more, but these are like tools you use to drive pricing. Discount itself is not a pricing strategy. So, like I mentioned, I gave an instance where I worked. They were driving on discount. They were driving. Of course, we had a lot of things coming, but discount was permanent for them. This evening, we are going to look at where discounts can be a disadvantage and where it can also be an advantage. So, but what are discounts? Discounts are incentives to drive purchases. Note the word short term. They are supposed to be short term incentives. A business should not be running on 247 discount all year round discount. It can even lead the customer to seeing your brand as a low value brand. It can diminish your brand image if you are always giving discounts. Yes, you might be selling, but what if your customers are willing to pay more? Or what if your customers are just testing you? For instance, a customer come and say, this product is 10,000, or I can find it 7,000 elsewhere. They are just playing gimmicks on you, and you say, okay, buy for 7,000. Of course, you agree with me as a seller that you will always go back to that person to buy, not because their products are great or not because their prices are very good, but because you feel you can always cheat them, so to say. So discounts should not be all the time. It is short term. It is a short term incentive, and it should be well defined as well, which we'll look at in a couple of minutes. Then secondly, another pricing tool that you can utilize is bundles. Bundles, we see it happen a lot. Chicken Republic, you buy rice, you get drink as well. They have the pack, they call it they call it refill max. There's the refill max. The difference is just the drink or the dodo or the coleslaw, whatever it is they're adding to it, is a bundle. They've observed customers, people come to it, they don't have money to pay maybe extra 300 for drink or 500 as it is now. They come to eat only rice and they really wish they could have some plantain on their food. Okay, let's, instead of making them pay extra 500 for this drink, an extra 300 for the plantain, and maybe extra 100 naira for the beef, let's put an extra 600 on the rice itself, and they can get all of those extra. Those are bundles. Those are examples of bundles in real life that we all have enjoyed or we all go for. And of course, bundles are a great way to increase the cart size. The aim of bundles should be to increase cart size, not just because you are trying to do giveaway as a business. It should not necessarily be to get customers per se. It's the reason for, if your bundles are not increasing how much customers buy, then there's a need to review those bundles. Maybe those bundles are not data driven, which is what we'll be looking at today, how to create data driven bundles. And then the last pricing lever, or the last tool of pricing we're looking at this evening, is upsell. Upsell, we all fall, let me say, victim of it. There's iPhone 14, there's iPhone 14 Pro, there's iPhone 14 Pro Max, and the only difference is maybe the camera pixel, and then you pay extra 100,000 for it. The only difference could be the memory space. So upsell is simply selling the same product of higher quality or higher value, just an added advantage of product X1 over X2, the same product, but one is of higher quality. So how do you make customers buy the higher quality product is a strategy you have to utilize as a pricing analyst. So it's called upsell. Once we come to upsell, I'll differentiate between upsell and cross-sell. It's very easy to mix them up, but there are two different concepts in pricing. Please clap if you can still hear me. I hope you can still hear me. Hi, Glory, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, David. I can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you as well. I just wanted to make sure. So let's look at discounts. So on this page, we say that an effective discount strategy follows these 3 steps. So before you set discount, there should be these 3 things in place as a pricing analyst. Your role as a pricing analyst for an organization is to tell them or to define why they are giving this discount, to define a clear goal. If you're not doing that, the business should do that for itself. But if there is no goal for discounting products, then there's a problem. The second thing should be setting thresholds. You should be able to say, okay, no matter how much a customer talks, no matter how much a customer is buying, we cannot give them beyond a 5% discount. There should be thresholds. The industry I worked of course, it's a very peculiar industry because it's e-commerce. E-commerce, we're always trying to gain market share. We could give as much as a 99% discount, if I'm not exaggerating, just so people can buy. And we were hurting margins without even knowing it. So there should be a threshold. That's the second strategy you must put in place if you are using discounts to drive pricing. And then the third strategy you must put in place is what's called A/B testing. It sounds like a very complex word, but it's as simple as you have 2 scenarios. You have to test, okay, let's see which discount strategy brought in more sales. Increase, pay 5% less, or pay 200 naira less. Those are 2 scenarios, A and B. You have to test. You have to give a period of time, maybe a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, to see, okay, which one the customers adapt to the most. So you have to have scenarios for your discount if you are testing. So the first point under this says define clear goals. A discount strategy should have a clearly defined goal. Offering discounts without purpose can erode margins and dilute brand values. I already spoke about that earlier. If you're just giving discounts, you might be hurting your business in ways you did not know. If you're just dashing out discounts, people just perceive your brand is of less value. They might think you're selling fake. They might even think you're selling fake. So it dilutes your brand value. And that's one of, if of course, we're not talking of pricing strategies this evening. It will have been very interesting to talk about pricing gimmicks or, yeah, pricing, escape my mind, but that's the strategy brands like Apple use. I can't remember, where they place their price very high, so you think it's very high. Of course, it's high quality, but people perceive. Of course, if you go to the market as a regular buyer, you see a product for 2,000, you see another one for 5,000. You want to believe that the 5,000 is of higher value. So your product or your strategy should not be that which makes people see your brand as less. And also, you don't want to cut down your margins. You might be taking a lot of money off the table by giving discounts. So examples of clear goals for your discount. Do you want to clear stock? Okay, this product is not moving well. How can we make it move better? Let's probably try discounts. Do you want to clear stock? Do you want to boost trial? When I say boost trial, you have a new product in the market. You know people will not want to leave their brands which they are loyal to for your new product. Okay, let's give them some discount. That's an example of a clear goal when it comes to giving discounts. And another reason why you might want to give discount is to reward loyalty. Okay, this person has bought from us all year round. Oh yeah, let's give him discounts. Let's say, okay, because you have been buying from us, we are giving you 20% discount on your next purchase. That will is as equivalent to giving them a gift. Okay, because you have been buying from us, let's give you a bag of rice. You find out that that bag of rice might even be hurting you. So as a smart business, one of those ways you can give discount is using it to reward loyalty. The person still in their mind thinks you are giving them a gift. However, you're also using it to sell your rice, because they will pay some money. You're just cutting off some margins off it. So at this point, I'll leave the floor open. I want just one or two contributions. Which other goals can you set for giving discounts? This is the part where I swallow my saliva a bit to know if you've been following me.
Hi, David. So, if there's anyone that wants to talk, please, you can drop a chat on the chat tab, or you can raise your hands, any of the two, and then I will unmute from this end. But I'd love that we can actually drop answers on the chat. That's even more effective and better. Thank you.
Thank
Hi,
you very
David.
much.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So anyone wants to drop on in the chat? I just want to be sure we've been I'm making sense, so to say. Any other reasons why you might want to give discounts in 10 seconds? Okay, let's assume you're still thinking about it. If you have the answers, you can drop in the chat. So moving on, another reason, another strategy you must employ in giving discounts is that there must be thresholds. As a pricing analyst, it's your job to set thresholds. Okay, this person buying from us, we can't give them more than 2% off if they spend so amount.
Hi, David. Sorry, we have an answer in the chat box.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
Can
Do you want me to read it out, or you
that?
go there? All right. So this person says testing a new market. Daniel Fidelis says testing a new market.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Testing a new market. You get to unmute to explain, so I don't wrap my brain to explain what you thought about. Is it fine if you unmute to contribute to that point?
Okay, I'm trying to allow him talk, so you should be able to do that in few seconds. But I think you should just go on, and then
Okay.
when you can talk, speak. Yeah. So
Okay, it's
Daniel,
fine. So,
I already unmuted. Speak when you're ready. Thank you.
so we don't take time. Let's just move on. So that's a good testing new markets. You've just come into this market. It's the same thing as testing out, boosting trial for a new product. It could also be you gaining market share. You just come in. Why should people leave a more popular brand for your product? Giving them discount attracts them. The aim there is to attract customers, to attract them to know your product. Then you can revert to your original price. If you now stick to giving the discount for life, you might be hurting margins. Thank you very much, Daniel. Another strategy I was explaining before Daniel's contribution was setting thresholds. It is your work as a pricing analyst to set thresholds. Don't just make customers negotiate. Of course, it's good to let customers negotiate, but then they should be negotiating from a standpoint which you as a business or a pricing analyst should set. It could be spending based thresholds. Okay, if you spend 20,000, you get 2,000 naira off. Great, people want to do that. Or if you buy three, you get one free. Or the popular book of buy one get one free that Cold Stone and the others use for their promotions. Those are examples of setting thresholds. So when the customer comes to negotiate, they should also be bringing something to the table. Okay, I'm not just buying three, I'm buying 50. Then you should give me more than one. Or I'm not just paying 20,000, I'm buying for 250,000. Then you should give me more than the 10% discount. Good enough. But then there should be a threshold. There should be a threshold. This ensures discounts discourage higher value purchases, encourage higher value purchases rather than simply cutting margins. That's an added point. So if you set thresholds, if the customer knows that if they want to get more discounts, they should buy more, pay less, buy more, pay less, as against just giving discount. Any amount you buy, you have the free will to negotiate, and then you are hurting the business, which is not which is not what you want for your business as a pricing analyst. Then the third point in that in discount says use A/B testing. I already explained that while I was trying to explain the word A/B testing is a so to say complex term, but it's just as simple as what I explained. You have two scenarios. You have to test which one attracted more customers or which one drove sales. So when you are giving discounts, you should not just put it on one. It's not a one size fits all. You might be saying, okay, come and buy 10 products, get one free. Some people don't want to buy 10 products. Some people just want you to slash 50% off or slash 10% off. Some people don't want to use their brain calculating, okay, how many this percentage. Give different scenarios. Okay, 1,000 naira off or 5% off. See which one drives sales, which one increases quantity, and all of that. Then also you must monitor performance metrics when you are doing your testing. Monitor the performance metrics. Popular metrics, of course, we look at that in the course of the slide, but popular metrics that can be used to measure pricing is average order value. Average order value, we'll define what that means in a few minutes. Profit margin, you should also be checking your profit margin. Okay, these are two scenarios. Which one is increasing our profit margin? That comes to the fact that sometimes one metric could be increasing at the expense of another decreasing. You don't want that for your business. So I recently did a project on Power BI where I looked at different promo strategies. It was from an online site. Then I found out that there was no particular strategy that was effective in driving both revenue and quantity. So while this one was doing very well in quantity, another one was doing very well in revenue. So those are things you want to check. You want to put a balance. You want to put a weighted average on all of these factors. So those are one of the things you want to do. There's no single pricing strategy that will give you all you want, but then there will be one that balances everything, which is what you might want to go for as a pricing analyst. And lastly, use results to refine what actually drives sales without unnecessary giveaways. You don't just want to be giving discount. Which one is more effective? When you measure the metrics over time, then you get to know which one. Good slide here. It says avoiding discount pitfalls. So discounts, as good as they are, discount, as wonderful as they are one of the ways to erode your margins. They are very easy. It's very easy to run into not necessarily losses, but then your business could have been making a 5% and you are making a 2% because you are doing giveaways, while other your competitors are being strict with their prices and getting the profit. They might not be driving volume, but they are driving revenue. And of course, at the end of the day, these things have to balance out each other. So one very common pitfall, or one very common backlash of discounting, is what's called discount fatigue. Fatigue means tiredness. Customers are just tired. They become less responsive. It's like it's every day they do 50% off. Maybe it's even scam, or maybe it's even 100,000 they are buying this product. They are just deceiving us. You don't want your customers to think you are using gimmicks on them. So that brings us to the definition of discount. It should be a short-term incentive. You don't want to be giving it all the time, so it doesn't lead to discount fatigue, which is a phenomenon where customers become less responsive or even indifferent. We don't care about their discounts. When they are done, they'll shut up. But then you yourself, you are running the discount every year, and then they think your value is less. So you don't want that. So to avoid discount pitfalls, avoid overusing discount. Train customers to wait. Let them know. For instance, everyone knows that once it's Jumia Black Friday, I'm all in. But the truth of the matter is, those prices you have for Jumia Black Friday might have even been on the platform since the beginning. I speak like that because I've had the opportunity to work with Jumia, and I see that sometimes those prices have been there. They just put a tag on it, say Black Friday deal, and then you calculate it's just maybe 1,000 naira off. But then customers are patiently waiting for November. Is psychological. That's what the pricing analyst should do. Work on people's psychology to drive your revenue. People wait for Black Friday only to be paying maybe 1,000 naira less, but they won't even care. They don't know. They know that there is a time for discount on Jumia and it's in November. That is you making your customers wait. Don't discount top sellers too frequently. You should have your top seller product. You should not be giving discounts all the time. I think I've spoken so much on that. Then monitor margin erosion. Track profit, not just revenue lift. Not just, okay, my revenue has increased. My revenue has increased. I know of a company that made, of course, not one company. Last year, a lot of companies declared loss, not because they did not sell, but because in terms of exchange rate, it was lost, or because they had revenue, but maybe 5% or 1% profit. You don't want that for your business. So always monitor both revenue and profit. Brings us to the second pricing tool or pricing lever, which is bundle. How do you optimize bundle? So just like pricing, I've also put this in 3 steps. If you want to use bundles effectively, you should combine complementary items. Some bundles, you see someone selling, let me use an instance, phone and bag of rice. They are disjoint. Of course, if I'm selling phone, you expect, if I'm buying a phone, you expect I'll be needing a charger. So I don't see why you should not be combining charger in your bundles. If I'm buying a phone, I should need a new SIM card, or I might be needing a new SIM card. That's a bundle. So complementary items. Here I've put in probably your favorite snack. You can't eat it, so sorry. But this is burger, chips, Coke. You will surely go for something like this because they are complementary. Not selling burger and rice. Rice is good, but someone buying burger is not necessarily wanting to eat rice at that point. So if you are having a bundle that says buy 1 burger, get 1 pack of rice free, you might not sell. But if you say buy 1 burger, get 2 packs of chips, of course, you know that those products can go together. Also, identify commonly purchased price. That's where your work as a pricing analyst comes in. In pricing, there's what's called lift or attach rate. How much are people buying this product A with product B? That's one of those things you must look out for when you want to create bundles for your business. And then offer customizable bundles. We'll talk about this one. Customizable. Let customers be able to choose to, when you say customize, let them put a name to their own bundle. Let them be able to select what they want, not just by fire by force. You must buy rice and groundnut oil. What if I don't want groundnut oil? What if I want to buy rice and chicken? Or what if I want to buy rice and seasoning? You must give them a choice in your bundles, no matter how tight the bundles may look. The next, so I'm explaining this, but I use different subheaders so that I can drive home the point as much as I can. So combine complementary items. Combine complementary items. Why? Because you want to increase the average order value. Average order value is one of those pricing metrics. So encourage customers to buy more in a single transaction by offering value through smart combination. Your combination should be well thought through, complementary, e.g., buy rice with cooking oil, burger with fries and drink. Those are complementary. More examples, phone and pouch. If you buy a new phone today, 90% of the time you want to also buy a new pouch. That's a good combination to bundle. Why this works? Customers perceive bundles as convenient and cost-effective, often increasing total spend without feeling forced. As a business, you want them to spend more on your platform or in your store. And one of those ways to make them do that is to feel they are paying less. Why they might not necessarily be paying less, but it works in their mind as though they are paying less. They say, okay, if I take this phone away from here, I'll go and be looking for pouch. I'll be buying pouch for extra. Might not be the case, but that's what people think. So bundles are effective when you combine them in smart way, and that's where data comes in. You should look at the data. I give an example. There was a time we were trying to create bundles for the company where I worked as a pricing analyst, and to our surprise, we found out that what restaurants were buying the more from us at that particular time was serviettes. This was surprising because we did not look at that at all. So how come serviettes? So we had to look at, that's what happens when you look at data. Data is the only truth you should have. Might not be the only truth, but data is your number one bet as a pricing analyst. Don't just say, in my head, I think someone that is buying rice wants to buy chicken. Yes, that's good enough, but the data might be saying otherwise. So for that particular period, restaurants were buying serviettes almost on every purchase. It was not driving revenue, it was not driving quantity, but it was recurring. It had a very high attach rate. So that's what you want to do. Give them bundles based on data. Now, this strategy boosts average order value while reducing the friction of decision making. You are increasing your own order value, and customers are saying, okay, it's convenient for me, let me just go ahead with this option. Now, the next tactic in bundling is that you must identify commonly purchased pairs. I've given too much examples of this. Drink and snacks, burger and fries, rice and chicken, and all of those. So those are examples. What do customers frequently buy together? That's where your work as a pricing data analyst comes in. You must be able to analyze that. In the case study we have something that looks like that, but we will not be analyzing that value. It's already given to us in data just to save time, but you must look at what customers frequently buy together, and does not necessarily mean you have to bundle them, but they give you a pointer on what to bundle. I hope that made sense. You don't say because the customer is buying X and they are buying Y, definitely a bundle containing X and Y will sell. That might not be true, but then it could guide you. You might need to look at other factors. Okay, is it a festive period? Why are they buying this with this? So those are factors you want to look at. But then looking at what they combine will give you a good example. Then also there's what's called market basket analysis or association rule mining. That's talking about data, which I spoke about, the attach rate or the lift value. That's market basket analysis terms. Those are things you should look at when analyzing. Then track co-purchase frequency and time-based purchase correlations. Time-based purchase, is it seasonal? Is it a seasonal bundling? Is it that they are buying this and this because it's Ilea? For instance, you have people buying goods or ram during Ilea. Does not mean that anybody coming to the market now buys Ilea. It might be a time, the co-purchasing might be due to the time-based factor or the seasonal factor. Data-backed bundles profit to the buyer. Yes. Oh, how did this person know I buy this? But you have just looked at data. That's what makes you pricing data analyst. you have looked at data, it feels more natural to them. They don't feel you are forcing them to buy what you want to sell. They feel, okay, I need this, let me just buy them. Then last under this bundling is offer customizable bundles for flexibility. Offer customizable bundles for flexibility. Let customers choose their own bundles from a category or selection. I had an example of that while I worked with Jumia. I was one of the people in charge of the backend for Jumia Food, a company that uses this so much. Sorry for giving you my life history, just want you to relate better. Cold Stone does this a lot. You want to buy this cone of ice cream, they give you like 10 toppings to choose from. Say, okay, you need our chocolate spray or our whatever 10. So you feel it feels very natural, but then they are not having to necessarily cost more. They are all the same price. But the fact that you can say, okay, I want to buy chocolate ice cream, look at the list of toppings they are giving me. Look at the different, when customers choose their own options themselves, it feels more natural to them. Example I gave you, pick any 3 items from our snack selection, our snack section, and get 15%. Okay, pick any 3. They have a wide variety to choose from. It feels more natural to them, and they are more flexible with it. The benefit of doing this is that it feels more personalized and empowering to them. Yes, they feel they are buying what they want to buy. Also, it increases satisfaction and likelihood of upsell. That explains itself. When people choose their own thing themselves, they feel more satisfied. You have opportunity to sell a higher brand to them if the case arises. Use data to guide these options. Once again, that's a caveat. Use data to guide these options. Now, how do you measure if a bundle is effective? Just like when we're talking about discounts, one of those ways we measure effectiveness of discounts, measuring profit, measuring average order value, and all of those. So how do you measure when a bundle is effective? You track, one of those ways is to track bundle conversion rates. Are people still buying the single items? If yes, then maybe your bundle is not effective enough. Maybe. So you've been giving them the option of buy table water and donut. There's also the option of buy only donuts, buy only table water. If people are still going for buying table water separately, buying donuts separately, then there might be a problem with your combination of donut and table water. You might need to look at, maybe your bundle is not effective enough. Maybe the price, maybe the choice of products, maybe the fact that they need to choose their own choice of snacks. Those are things you need to look at to know how effective your bundle is. Second strategy here to measure bundle effectiveness, analyze if bundles increase overall spend or cannibalize full price items. Are people now spending more? The fact that they have to buy all of these items together, does it make them spend more, or you are just cutting your price for nothing, or you are just slashing your price, doing giveaway? You have to check that this customer XYZ is very organized in maybe an e-commerce, because there's customer ID and all of those, or maybe a more corporate business. You might not really be able to track per customer when it comes to maybe shopping mall, because they are not using their ID, they are paying with their cards and all of that. But if the customer purchases online for e-commerce, for instance, you can tell when this customer started spending more and track it back to the time your bundle was launched. So you need to check if the overall spend is increasing. Then last, effective bundle measuring effectiveness is that you must compare margin on bundles versus individual SKUs. Now that you are selling bottled water and donuts, has the margin increased on that combination, or it is still higher on the individual combination? Those are ways you can measure your bundle effectiveness. At this point, I want to believe I'm convincing you and not confusing you. I think there's a restriction to how we can speak, and I'm not on my Zoho screen, but I just believe you're getting me. If at any point you need to ask questions, please call me back. I'll be glad to
Hi,
answer
David.
them.
There's a question.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a
I'll
question.
switch screens.
So the question is, what use cases exist where discount fatigue never sets in? E.g., Udemy, they always offer as high as 80% limited time discount, but it never ends. What could they have done differently? Did you get that?
Yes, I'm reading through. Saying what use cases exist where discount fatigue never sets in? E.g., Udemy, they always offer as high as 80% limited time discount, but it never ends. What could they have done differently? It boils down to customer value. The 80%, is it on a particular product? That's one. Secondly, you must understand that pricing, the industry is a key player. The industry, it's the type of industry, how you price automobiles or luxury goods, for instance, is not how you price education. That's an example. Understanding your customer space. Who are the people that need to use Udemy? Number one, they are probably students that want to upskill. They are probably people that are not working at the moment. I mean, very common to have people, once they start working, they stop taking courses and until they're looking for their next jobs. So the people paying for those products is also a determiner. And of course, it's worthy to note that the 80% is not fixed on a particular product. It's not fixed on a particular product. And then secondly, the market, the kind of customers, your customer kind, the people that come there, they need discount. They don't have money. They are probably students. They're probably out of jobs. So those are use cases that where discount fatigue might not set in, because another reason is because it is not the same person buying the course all the time. You don't pay for a course more than once, if you will agree with me. But in a setting where the customer buys all the time, you probably buy snacks all the time. It is the same customer repeated buying. But in the case of Udemy, 10 people take these courses this month, another set of 10 people take these courses. They were probably never aware of the 80% discount. So the strategy is unique to industry as well. What are you selling? Who are the people buying from you? So I believe I answered that question. So that's a case where fatigue might not set in, where you are selling to different people. Nobody is coming to buy again from you. It's just a one-off purchase. Fatigue might not set in because remember we are particular to one person buying now. Fatigue can only set in if it is the same person. But someone that never bought from you, there's no cause to get tired because they were never aware of what you were doing some months ago. So I hope I answered that question. If I didn't, please leave a message. I'll be glad to go over it again. But I hope that thank you very much for that question. It was well thought through. So there are cases where fatigue might not set in, but there are peculiarities depending on the industry, depending on the customer type, depending on whether it is a repeated purchase scenario. Thank you very much. So let's move on. Upselling. So I said I was going to explain the difference between upselling and cross-selling because even I mix it up a lot. In fact, while doing the final preparations for this training, I had to still look it up again, say, please help me differentiate upselling from cross-selling. Cross-selling, we've had that instance a lot where we go to the mall, we buy bread, then at the exit, you don't have change. Your change can buy butter. Your change can buy chewing gum or whatever, and they suggested butter to you. Why? Because they know you've just bought bread. You must need butter. That's an example of cross-selling. Cross-selling is selling complementary products. Cross-selling is not upselling. Cross-selling is selling complementary products, which is not the same as bundling anyways, but suggesting, okay, I read a joke, or there's a popular joke we probably are aware of, a Nigerian that was selling in a store for the very first time. And then at the end of the day, said he only made one sales. The manager was like, why do you make only one sales? What did you sell? He said it's worth $1 billion. He said, what did you sell? He said the person came in to buy a baseball bat. Then I suggested a fishing boat to him. Then I suggested when he bought the fishing hook. When he bought the fishing hook, I suggested a boat to him and all of those. You see that whatever I was saying was in line. If you need a fishing hook, you probably need a boat to fish with. If you need a fish, you probably need, if you need a boat, probably need a fishing gear and all of those. That is cross-selling. Selling complementary based on what the person has bought. But here we are talking of the topic, given to me is upselling. So I just wanted us to differentiate that. Upselling means selling higher higher an upgrade or a premium, an upgrade or a premium. If this person can afford to pay 40,000 for an iPhone X, they likely will be able to pay 45, just extra 5,000, just for them to have XR. That R is what they are paying 5,000 for. That is upselling. So I hope I did justice to that differentiation. So what are the techniques? What are the techniques for effective data-driven upselling? Number one, recommend higher tier product based on user behavior. Based on user behavior, what are they buying? We'll look more in depth into that. The scenario I used here was in the case of e-commerce. What is this person browsing more often? If there's an algorithm or a feature on your website that can track their cart behavior, you can use it to recommend upselling opportunities. Oh, I see this person buys 5 kg bag of rice, and I saw this person was on the page of 25 kg bag of rice for over 1 minute. Could it be that this person will be willing to buy 25 kg if we reduce the price of 25 kg? So instead of selling 10 kg bag of rice to them at a lower price, let's just cut down the price of 25 kg bag and sell 25 kg bag to them. That's upselling based on their behavior, maybe on your website or maybe in your store. Another technique we can use here is purchase history and preference. What does this customer buy very often? It can guide you on what to upsell to them. Then also timing matters. Timing matters. We'll discuss this in depth when we come to that part. So during or after checkout, that timing is very important. So recommend higher tier product based on user behavior. Since upselling is the strategy of encouraging customers to buy a more premium version or a product or add a feature-rich upgrade. They are buying product A, they can buy A plus. If they have money to buy A, they might be willing to pay a little extra for A plus. That is upselling. Now, how do you as a pricing analyst comes in? You could use their behavioral data, for instance, page viewed or overdone during browsing. Which page did they view? If your website can collect that information, you could use it to suggest what to upsell to them. It's just as simple as slashing, maybe giving them a discount on that particular one you think they will be willing to buy, and then you might hit the rock. Items added to cart but not purchased. Yes, you have to check their cart abandonment rate. It's something some businesses might not look at, but as a pricing analyst looking to increase upselling, one of those places you can find opportunities is in their cart abandonment rate. This person always adds, I have that, for instance. I add sometimes when I'm feeling happy but I don't have money, I just go to Jimmy and add some product to cart, and I never revisit that cart. When I want to buy, I will delete those products from my cart. But somehow I'll still come back to add those products to my cart. Why? Because there's probably a need for it, but I might not have the resource to purchase at that time, or maybe they are not high priority. But then my behavior is that I add those products to cart. So when you look at their cart abandonment rate, what they add to cart but they never purchase, it can give you an hint on what you can upsell to them. Then also time spent on certain product tiers. This person spends more time in the electronics category than in the grocery category. Maybe they are willing to buy an electronic product, maybe, just maybe. So I give an example here: customer viewing 10 kg, maybe shown 25 kg with better value. Yes, give them better price, they might be willing to buy. I spoke about that earlier. Then the point here says personalized suggestions feel helpful rather than pushy and increases customer lifetime value. That's another big thing we'll explain later. So when it's personal, depends, how did this person know I'm always checking 25 kg bag of rice? It feels more natural to them, and that's what you want. You want your customers to be comfortable with your pricing strategy so that it converts to purchase. So when you use their data to suggest upsells to them, it feels more personalized. So use purchase history and prices. Analyze their past purchase to determine their price range. Yes, their price range. They always buy product between 10,000 and 20,000. Then maybe there's an extra 20,000 product they're not considering. Not like someone always spend at most 20,000 and you are trying to sell to them 100,000. That is not data driven. That is not data driven. Look at their price range, then you can see which product falls within that range that you can suggest to them at their next purchase. Of course, there are algorithms that do this on a larger scale, but then for a pricing analyst input is very much needed in this aspect as well. Product categories they often explore or return to. I gave that example. When they are always browsing, they spend more time in this category, then maybe they are interested in a product in that category. Use this insight to craft smart upsell offers. Last time you bought X, you might buy Y this time around. Yes, so if this person is always returning to buy this, let's suggest this to them. That's a way to use data-driven upselling. Then upgrade to your bulk purchase and save 10% overall. Sometimes the upselling might also be volume. If you can give them a slash on their volume, maybe they'll buy more. That's also upselling. Remember, it is the same product but added value, not cross-selling. You're not suggesting something else, but you say, okay, if you buy one pack of drink, what about if you buy 5? We will give you this discount. They just might be willing to pay. Maybe they like drink so much. This method helps improve conversion rates by aligning offers with individual needs and behavior. We spoke about that earlier. It feels more personalized to them and you are likely to convert them. This one says timing matters. Use upsell prompts during or after checkout. That brings us to, there might be algorithms for this. The customer is about to check out, a prompt on their screen that says, okay, since you bought this, we have this available, and the price, if it's ridiculous enough, they just might go and purchase that. So during checkout, it's a good place to upsell to them, or after checkout. So at the point they are confirming their order, pop up these other products. They just might buy it on their next purchase. Or if you use emails to communicate, you might suggest that to them, provided it's something they are likely to buy again. Good timing makes upsells feel more valuable suggestions rather than sales pressure. So if the person is trying to find a product and something is popping up, it looks like a disturbance to them. It looks like, this is not what I want to buy. I'm looking for something. But if at the point where they are paying for the product, you suggest something to them, maybe in their next purchase, maybe they will be willing to think about that product you suggested.
Hi, David.
Hi, Glory.
So I have a question from Rita. So she's asking that in a case where you just launched a reseller program to drive sales and you offer a discount to drive bulk purchase, is this a great strategy for pricing? And how can you really measure success in this regard? Also, this seems to be like it will be a long-term strategy if one is to ensure market penetration by retailers. What would you advise in this regard? Did you get it or you want to read it again?
I would have loved to read it, but I can't find it. They
Okay,
only message
check the
find
Q&A.
this. You said?
Check Q&A. Check
Okay.
Q&A, not chat. Q&A.
Okay, thank you. Say in a case where you just launched a reseller program to drive sales and you offer a discount to drive bulk purchase. Okay, this speaks to volume tiered pricing. Is this a great strategy for pricing? And how can you really measure success in this regard? Also, this seems to be like it will be a long-term strategy if one is to measure market penetration by retailers. What would you advise in this regard? This question is packed, is a all in one. I'm trying to unpack it. So first, to unpack this, it says, I think the first question here is that you have a reseller program to drive sales and you offer a discount to drive bulk purchase. Yes, that is a good discount strategy. As a matter of fact, the case study we have in this training tries to compare discount versus volume based discount, and the one that was preferred just for this case study because of the data was volume. So volume tiered pricing is a good one. I come to where I said there's no single strategy that balances revenue, that there's no single strategy that wins in both revenue and quantity purchase. So sometimes you have to use the quantity to balance the revenue. So if you are looking at driving, provided they will be buying more. So you look at, if you naturally buy 10 bags, are you willing to buy 100? Since you are reselling, we will give you good discount. The extra one naira we make is enough. What it does is that it helps the seller turn over quickly. It helps the reseller turn over quickly. So you're not holding goods in your inventory. Comes back to defining reasons for discount. One of them is to clear out inventory. So when you have that, is a very good strategy. Might not be best depending on your business. Of course, there are a lot of factors, but yes, using volume to drive discounts is a good strategy. And then how can you really measure success in this regard? The measures, the pricing measures we spoke about, you could use for this one, you could use the average order volume, number of times they purchased it. That's their total revenue divided by the number of times. So is it that this strategy, because we are giving a volume-based discount, this person is not buying more frequently from us? Yes, that will increase their average order value. Otherwise, maybe it's not a good strategy. This person, there's no difference between when we're selling single products and when he was buying bulk. He just buys from us once in 6 months. Then maybe that's not a good strategy. So one of those ways you can measure is by the average order volume. Number two ways you can measure is by the revenue uplift. There's what's called revenue uplift or promo uplift. How did that increase the revenue versus when you have to compare it versus when they were buying single, if you have sufficient data to compare both. So that's one way you can measure success in this regard. Also, this seems to be like, it will be a long-term strategy if one is to ensure market penetration by retailers. I didn't get this part, but let me make sense of it. It said also this seems to be like, it will be a long-term strategy if one is to ensure market penetration by retailers. Long-term strategy if one is to ensure market penetration. Market, is it market penetrative or market penetration? Market penetrative. But please, can the person on mute and ask this, reframe this question? So sorry, if you could reframe this, because the question was packed in one. I think I did not get.
All right. I'll try to mute her.
Okay.
But you can continue. I'll try to mute her. So when she can speak, she'll just speak.
Okay, if you could just reframe it, I really appreciate that. So now let's balance one of the reasons why we are here. We're looking at data and pricing, how we can. So the two things we're looking at here is the role of data in pricing, and then metrics that matter when you want to measure effectiveness of your pricing strategy or your upsell, cross-sell, bundle, and all of those. What are those metrics that you can use as a pricing analyst to measure the effectiveness? So of course, this one is telling us the importance of data. I say data is the engine of smart pricing. It turns assumptions into insight and guesswork into strategy. So you're not just guessing. I gave an example. My company, when we were analyzing, we're trying to create bundles. We discovered that restaurants were buying serviettes more often. It wouldn't have occurred to us, but then that was the reality. Serviettes was, so it was an eye-opener for us, and it cut us off guesswork. So when you use data to guide your pricing, you are not just guessing, you have something to back it up. Whether or not it will now work will depend on several factors, but you've made the first right decision by looking at it from the lens of data. Then second point here says, with accurate data, businesses can make pricing decisions that are personalized, profitable, and performance driven. I think we already spoke so much about that. When there's data backing up the strategy, the customer feels, oh, you are reading my mind. Yes, I really needed this. And that's what you want for your customer. That's what you want as a business. You want them to feel valued. You want the bundles or the upsells to feel personalized. And what it is for you as a business is that it will drive your profitability, and your performance will also go up. Then from optimizing discount to crafting bundles and upsells, data empowers pricing that works smarter, not harder. I think that explains itself. If you use data, you will be working smarter, you will be making better pricing decisions, whether you are trying to use upsells or discounts or bundles or cross sales, whatever strategy you are trying to use, it makes it more informed and smarter. Then lastly, it says, as the market evolves, so must pricing strategies, and data is your reliable guide for that journey. This is important. This is important. I gave an instance of where I worked that we stuck to pricing for a very long time. Things were changing, and new customers were coming. They felt that was the only value we had to offer, but we were not changing strategies. You must always review your pricing strategy from time to time. As a matter of fact, the most effective businesses are those that practice what's called dynamic pricing. Might not work for all the industries, but that's how you need to check. Like the Udemy case someone raised up, that's a different industry. You have to check what works for your industry. But most importantly, you have to be flexible in your pricing strategy, and you must use data to guide that decision. Okay, why are we moving from volume tiered to discount? At the point for that, my company, we got off discount and we moved on to volume tier. And one of the reasons is because we had more resellers buying from us. We had more resellers buying from us. So it was a good reason to move. Although we moved a bit late, but then you must always evolve your pricing strategy, and data is what you can use to guide that decision. Now let's look at some metrics that matter. Some of them you might have heard before. Some of them you might be hearing for the first time, but I will do my best to explain them. So one very popular one is gross margin. After you take out your cost price, what is left in percentage? It can be in percentage or in currency value. Gross margin, the difference between cost of goods sold and revenue divided by the revenue. So what products drive the highest gross margin? Gross margin is like profit. Yes, profit margin. That's another word for gross margin. That's a very important term to measure when you're measuring effectiveness of your strategy. And second on my list is contribution margin. Contribution margin, this is just a finance term. It's nothing serious. It's just same as cost margin anyways. So, but this time around, we are taking out the variable costs, other costs involved. So after looking at the cost of purchase, which is what gross margin measures, you have to also look at other costs involved. Cost of logistics. I used that my company as a good example. I'm not using them in a bad light, but it's just good when you can relate to where some of these ideas are coming from. For so long, we were not measuring logistics costs.
Shit.
Which you can use, for a long time, we're not considering logistics, and it was hurting us as a business. By the time we made that turnaround, it was too late. So you must measure your contribution margin and use it to determine the effectiveness of your pricing strategy. Another metric that matters is what's called promo uplift, or you can call it revenue uplift. This one simply measures, you have to compare, okay, when these people were buying, when we were not running a promo, what was the revenue versus what is the revenue now? By how much percent has our revenue increased? Sometimes it might be quantity. I recently did a project where I tried to just balance quantity uplift and revenue uplift, but it's just the same idea. What has changed? Compared, you have to compare to where you're coming from. You don't just throw that data away. You might be surprised that it's just 5% change that has happened in your revenue. So will there really be a need for discounts? That's a question you will also want to answer. But you have to compare where you're coming from in terms of uplift. By how much has my revenue changed or increased? Another thing you must consider is attach rate. I said there is the additional add-on product sold with a primary product. The person buying table water, and how frequent do they buy table water with other products? That gives you the attach rate or lift. How frequent do they buy these products together? How frequent? That could give you an idea of which products to bundle. We look at that in our practical work. That could give you an idea of which product to bundle. Then lastly, another thing you should look at for the purpose of this training slide, the last one is the customer lifetime value. Customer lifetime value, the total revenue a business expect from a customer over their business period, over their relationship. This customer, sometimes customer comes and say, give us discount, give us, and you see this person only buys from us like once a year and only buys maybe 50,000. So why are we wasting our discount on you? So you must also measure a customer lifetime value. Oh, this person is a high value customer. He buys, their customers in a year, they buy from us over 500 times. Those are high value customers, you will agree with me. And of course, those 500 times, they're not spending 1,000 naira. So you must look at the customer lifetime value before offering or before determining the kind of strategy that will suit that customer or suit your business, you must look at the general lifetime value. So at this point, I don't know if there are questions. I guess if there are, it will be left in the chat, the Q&A, and I hope you still have some energy left, please, just to be sure. Okay, I think you do. I think you do. So this part is a case study. I'll be switching on to my Excel, so I might need to stop sharing and share again. This is a case study. So I read, say Home Store is a mid-sized, that's the name of the store, is hypothetical. So Home Store is a mid-sized grocery retail, grocery delivery company operating across multiple cities. Despite steady sales, the leadership team noticed that gross margins were thickening, margins were washing away or were getting smaller, and repeat purchases were plateauing. People were not buying repeatedly. They've traditionally relied on blanket discounts, but suspect this might be hurting margins. They want to shift towards data-driven pricing, leveraging smarter discount strategies, personalized upsells, and effective product bundles. So this company, they've been giving discounts. This company is a good example of the company I've been using for my illustration since. They've been giving discounts all along, but they are suspecting that they might be using the wrong strategy. Now they want to start using data. So they've provided us some data. Sorry, my voice is a moment. Let me take. Okay. They've provided us with some data, and we are supposed to look at it in the next few minutes and make sense of it, recommend which pricing strategy is best for them. At this point, I want to assume there's already a basic level knowledge of Excel, at least beginner level Excel, or maybe a bit of intermediate, but I'll try to explain whichever formula I'll use, but nothing complex, I promise you. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know when you can see. Please, can you see my screen? I'm sharing an Excel file. Please confirm you can see it.
I can see your screen. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, so this is the data that was provided, but let's go back to that case study. So these are some of the things they want for their business. They want to replace discounts with strategic promo, which I spoke about in the question. They want to use customer and product data to design high converting bundles. We will not be doing that, but we will guide them on which product can be a very good bundle fit. Also, they want to deploy upsell prompts based on behavior and past purchase data. We might not do that. Then also they want to track performance using key metrics like gross margin percent, blah, 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 and all of those. So these are their objectives. And how do we intend solving this problem? By answering the following research questions. So we look at, to answer these questions, we want to look at their top performing products, the gross margin for the top 5 SKUs. They have about, I think, 15 or so, or 10 or 15, the gross margin for the top performing. We'll also compare promo uplift for the discount promo versus the volume deal. They want to know which of these two is driving their revenue, or which of these two is giving a better uplift compared to baseline sales. Then also which of these two also resulted in higher average order volume. This is where A/B testing comes in. A/B testing could be more complicated, but we'll just shrink it to say, okay, we are measuring our A and B test by the average order volume. Then also there's the attach rate, which products drive the most add-on, which products is repeated more frequently, the customer lifetime value segmentation by city. We'll also analyze which city has higher customer lifetime value. Then we'll look at which bundle gave the best margin and perception trade-off. When I say perception here, I'm talking of attach rate, which bundle do they buy more frequently, which bundle do they buy more frequently, and also offers margin. Maybe one of those bundles will balance the two scenarios. They've given us bundles already, so we'll be working with that. It's a simulated data, nothing real, but it's practical enough. So these are some deliverables for the learners. Why we might be doing some of this, I will not be creating charts. Maybe that will be your take home. And also 2 and 3 says to create charts, charts showing attach rates, just simple bar charts and all of that. So you might need to do that yourself. Then a short summary recommending price actions based on findings. So I don't know, you might want to submit that to the Techlytics team so they review, but I really encourage you do this. From what we'll be doing, you might be seeing some of those answers, and your work will just be to translate them into maybe a short slide, maybe 2 pages, 2 pages recommending which strategy works for them based on their needs, to find the best discount, the customer lifetime value, and all of those. So I'll be switching to my Excel. So for this Excel, I already did, let me not say I already did some work. Let me just, I want to, so we'll be using the formulas we had, nothing we are bringing from our head. The formulas we had, the formula for gross margin. So the first question, so let's prepare a blank Excel sheet. No grid lines. So let me just take out the grid lines. So the first, we want to look at top 5 gross margin SKUs. So at this point, I should run fast so I don't overshoot the time. Gross top 5 margin SKUs, that's what we want to look at. So to do this effectively, for gross margin, what do we need? We need to calculate the revenue. We need to calculate the cost of goods sold. Then we have to divide those by the revenue. So the data I was given, let's look through the data very quickly. So there are different tabs. The first one speaks to the customer. I created this while preparing for this training. I wouldn't want to take this out, but I will explain what it means. The first slide speaks to the customer, each customer ID, their city. This is information about customers, their sign-up dates, and then I calculated how long in months they've been with the company. This is just so I can calculate the lifetime value. So the formula I use for this is the date diff, which you're probably familiar with. So I just took the difference between months, between today and when they signed up. How long have these customers been with us in months? To guide us to calculate their lifetime value. The second slide speaks to products. So as I mentioned, they have 10 products. However, they've asked us to find maybe the top 5, which we will do for them. Top 5. So these are the products. This is the product information. I hope I'm not too fast, please. Then these are the bundles. So these bundles, I created them because I needed that for this training. So the bundles have names, just like when you go to Chicken Republic, they have Refer Max, they have Citizens Meal, and all of those. Those are just names, not like it is it was born with the product. So these are the names for these bundles. They have the ready for lunch Naija Jollof combo. Naija Jollof combo is cooking oil, tomato paste, rice, and seasoning. I think I did a good job doing this. Ready for lunch, cooking oil, noodles, and soft drink. Night with the click, that's another bundle. That's beer, soft drink, and pasta. Then we have breakfast starter, egg, milk, and noodles. And the last bundle is party pack, cooking rice, noodles, and soft drink. So what I did was I combined this product from the product list and I cut off some percentage from the unit price. Then we have here our facts table. I calculated these 3 grade columns. I will explain. I might need to recalculate this for the purpose of this training. But this is what was given to us. Let me zoom in. Yeah, so this is like a transaction. Each transaction, just like you have, if you have been familiar with using maybe Power BI and all of those, this is a fact table. This one has all the data, transaction data, and all the likes. So this is what we are working with. They want us to make sense of this data and recommend the best pricing strategies to them. So the promo type they've been using, let's look at that. The promo type they've been using over the years or they have volume deal, they have discount deal. I won't really use bundle. Baseline means without discount or without promo. So those are the two. They want us to compare these two um, promote strategies and tell them which one is more effective. We'll be using our metrics that matter from our slides to do this. So just to dive right in, the first question. So if I answer the analysis question very well, then I can use that knowledge to answer, to advise the business, which is what you will be doing. You are the pricing analyst here. Me, I'm just the person calculating. So the gross margin percentage, what do I need for that? I need, let's put the formula here. Gross margin will be equal to revenue minus total cost, everything divided by revenue. Then this will be in percentage. So to find revenue, revenue simply means the unit price of the item. Please don't mind. If I'm fast, please let me know. Thank God this session is recorded. The unit price of the item multiplied by the quantity. That's how you find revenue. Yes. So if, for instance, a product is 5,000 naira and then you bought 10 of it, means that the revenue I got from you is 50,000. Yes, revenue I got from you is 50,000. But what if in a case I gave discount? What if I gave discount, meaning that the unit price will reduce? So let's say that product that is 5,000, I sold it for you for 4,800. The discount I gave you was 200 naira. And this 200 naira is, let me use a round figure, 500 naira discount. I gave 500 naira, that's about 10%. So I gave a 10% discount. Please, I just want you to get me. I know this is a very large platform, but I don't want to leave anyone behind. If I give a 10% discount, how will I get the revenue giving the 10% discount? If I multiply my unit price by the discount, I will get the discount amount. Discount amount will be equal to the percentage discount. Let me zoom out. Okay, discount amount equal to the percentage discount times the unit price. Remember, I said I gave the person a 10% discount. So if I want to get what that 10% will amount to, I'll simply say 10% of 5,000. That is going to be 500 naira. Yes. So in this case, the revenue will change because I've given discount. The revenue becomes, this was the formula for revenue. The revenue now becomes the unit price minus the discount. Unit price minus the discount multiplied by the quantity, because I'm trying to find the total revenue, the revenue per unit. I hope everyone is following me at this point. So this is what I need. Everyone following? Okay, silence will mean yes. So nothing out of the box. They are all from what we have discussed. So I'll wipe this out so I can do it on this course so everyone sees what I'm doing. So I grade these columns because I need them for my work. So to calculate revenue, I already said that revenue is going to be unit price minus discount amount times quantity. And the discount in this case is percentage times unit price. So if I replace that here, I come to this table. I just hope everyone is following. I believe so. This will be the unit price minus, or let me get discount amount separately so it works better. So let me convert this part because this discount was given in percentages from the data was given, the discount percent. So where it is 0%, there was no promo applied. Those are the baseline sales. Then it moved to maybe 0.2% and all of that. But to get the discount, total discount, this is going to be the unit discount amount, that's the percentage multiplied by the unit price. Discount is usually given on the unit price, not the cost price. So this is the discount amount. This is the discount amount. I've logged that in. I hope everyone got that. I'll also need to find the revenue. In this case now, it becomes easy. The revenue becomes from the formula we stated here. The revenue becomes the unit price minus discount times quantity. So all multiplied. So I'll say unit price, that single unit price, sorry. Single unit price minus the discount, everything multiplies the quantity. Yes. So I believe everyone got this. Now this is the total cost price, or we can call it cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold, that's the COGS. This one simply means if I bought one unit for 1,015 naira, then multiplying by 6, I'll get the total cost price. So there's no much to be done here. Simply multiplying these two. And then that brings me to the formula for gross margin. The gross margin formula was, gross margin was revenue minus total cost, or cost of goods sold. Revenue minus cost of goods sold, everything divided by revenue. So I come here to see, I already have the revenue, so I'll just say this will be equal to, revenue minus cost of goods sold, everything divided by revenue. This should be in percentage. So we see some give us as high as a 30% discount, 30% margin, that's profit margin, and we also had 11% and maybe less than that in between. So that gives us a margin across all the transactions. But what I was asked to do is to find the top 5. So let me make this, let me just customize to make it more beautiful. Let me increase this font size here. So if I want to do that, let me first create a table. I'll need to fetch all the products. So I can do that. You can copy and paste or show that you are an analyst by fetching it with the formula unique. So if I get unique of product name from the product table, unique is a formula you use in Google Sheets, and I think Excel has it as well. So I fetched all the products. These are all the 10 products because I use the formula unique. Of course, this is an array formula, so I can't change anything in between. If I delete one of the products, everything scatters. Please note that it's an array formula. The formulas are linked together. And let me start one more here. This is the product. Might not have much time, but I'll try. This is the product name. This is the gross margin. This is the gross margin. So then we go on to say, we need to get the average gross margin for all of these products. So I'll simply use an average if. I hope everyone can get that here. Average ifs of the gross margin column if the product name, a moment, if the product name is this. So this comes to a percentage value. So of course we can now look out for which product is the highest, but I need to pick the top 5. So I'll simply, I can randomly pick out the top 5 or rearrange this, whether I can rearrange because of the formula I use. But if I should copy and paste, I can rearrange, but then I'll use what's called, I'll use an array formula. The array formula would be I'll take the large. A moment, please. I need to do something. Okay, so I'll use the large of this. I want to pick the large 5. This formula is called large. It's an array formula. I'm picking top 1 to 5. So I do a Control Shift Enter. Of course, it will spread across. So for me to make it vertical, I'll wrap this within the transpose. Okay, so these are the top 5. These are the top 5 arranged from 1 to 5 with that my large formula. Then I can also look up the product name. So I can index this and match this value with this one, giving myself an exact match. So voila, this gives us the top 5 margin SKUs. At this point, I don't know if there are questions. I know I did a lot of, might not be new to you, but I know I used quite some formulas, but all I did was to use the average ifs and then the large formula. This was how I extracted the top 5 margin SKUs. So I'll give about a minute for any questions, and then we can progress from here. Please, I want questions, please. Hi, Glory, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, David. I can hear you clearly. There are no questions on the chat and the Q&A.
Okay, I left you a message if you could check.
Yeah, I already got that, so it's fine. It's fine. I'll take it up from here.
Okay, so I don't know. I hope it was. So of course, we could maybe the Technitis team could share this with us to finish up, but it's basically the same approach. Might need a little extra work, but that's why we are all pricing analysts.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much, David, for this insightful session. Can you all still hear me? Okay, thank you so much. Can you all still hear me, please?
I can hear you.
Amazing. Thank you all for staying to the end. Someone was saying that this is quite informative, and I really agree. So I want you to take, I just launched a poll. I want you to rate today's webinar session so that we'll know how well David did today. So please rate the webinar session. Yeah, I'd love to see in our ratings. Rate the webinar sessions, please. Can you still hear me? Can anyone hear me, please? Oh, you can still hear me. Amazing. So I just launched the polls. Please take the polls. Let's know how well David did today. And we also have a market basket analysis class that will be coming very soon. If you'd love to join, I'm also taking that poll too. please do well to take the poll, and then I'll be in your emails and everywhere I can be to tell you more about the class. Yeah, so this session will be uploaded on YouTube for those of us that want to go over it again. Please do well to go over it. And then we also, in case you want to know more about our market basket analysis, talk more about the session. So I have dropped that. I've dropped that on the chat box already. The consultation link, can just have a call to talk about it. So I've dropped that on the chat box already. And you can also check through our social media pages for more information on all the programs that we are holding. Thank you so much. You can also drop back on our website to see the things that we have in store for you. Thank you so much for waiting till the end of the session, and I'm so sure you all had an amazing time in class today. If there are no more questions, I don't think I can see any questions here. I'd love to end today's session. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying till the end of this session. It was a pleasure hosting us all. Please enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for trusting and believing in Techletics. Have an amazing night rest. Good night.